Welcome back to the Instant Fame. I'm so glad you've joined me today for a thoughtful conversation about the world we navigate online, a world often filled with more noise than nuance. Let's settle in and explore this topic together, with a focus on clarity and understanding, far away from the frantic headlines and the constant churn of the news cycle. You might have seen a headline recently, one of those that flashes by so quickly you could easily miss it if you blink. It probably said something along the lines of a certain actress's bikini photo being a feast for the eyes. It's the kind of phrase that's designed to do one thing and one thing only: grab your attention immediately. It's loud, it's declarative, and it demands a reaction. But what is the substance behind such a statement? Is it a genuine observation, or is it merely a piece of digital clickbait, crafted to generate traffic and engagement by any means necessary? This is the central question we need to ask ourselves whenever we're confronted with these viral moments. The initial boom of the headline is almost always misleading because the real story, the actual truth of the situation, rarely shouts. It tends to speak in a much quieter, more measured tone. To hear it, we have to consciously decide to lower the volume of the surrounding chaos and engage in a more peaceful, more deliberate way of interpreting what we see. This process allows us to appreciate or critique any viral image without getting swept up in the manufactured hysteria that so often accompanies it. The undeniable power of a single image to ignite a firestorm of commentary is a defining feature of our modern digital landscape. A solitary frame, a fleeting moment captured forever, can seemingly set the entire internet ablaze with opinions, judgments, and hot takes. But we must remember that a frame is not a life. It is a fraction of a second, a sliver of a much larger, more complex reality. The truth of a person's existence cannot be faithfully contained within the borders of a photograph. It's a continuous, flowing narrative, not a frozen snapshot. This is why our first step when encountering any such viral phenomenon must always be to return to the basics. We have to build our understanding from the ground up, starting with the most fundamental questions we can possibly ask. Who originally shared this picture? Understanding the source is absolutely critical. Was it posted by the individual themselves? In this case, did it come directly from Milana's own verified social media account? Was it shared by a member of her official team, perhaps a publicist or a manager? Or, and this is a crucial distinction, did it originate from a random fan page, an entertainment gossip aggregator, or a website whose primary business model is generating heat rather than reporting verified facts? The provenance of an image tells us a great deal about its intended context and its likely authenticity. Next, we must inquire about the circumstances. What was the likely setting of this photograph? Was it a candid, private moment, a slice of personal life captured during a vacation or a quiet day at the beach, perhaps shared with close friends and then taken out of its original context? Could it have been part of a professional brand shoot for a swimwear line or a lifestyle magazine where the choice of attire is a deliberate part of a creative or commercial collaboration? Or was it simply a spontaneous image from a casual day off, representing nothing more than a person enjoying the sunshine? Furthermore, if the image was posted by Milana herself, what did her caption say? The accompanying words are invaluable. They provide direct insight into the motivation behind the post, the tone she wished to set, and the cause or feeling she intended to communicate. A caption can transform the meaning of a picture entirely. It can frame it as a statement of body positivity, a celebration of a personal milestone, a promotional activity, or just a simple, unadorned moment of joy. The plot of the entire story becomes infinitely more straightforward and far less sensational once we have a firm grasp on these foundational elements. Once we know the who, the where, and the why, the image often loses its explosive, controversial power and is revealed for what it most likely is: a normal part of a public figure's life. After establishing the context, we must then confront the art of visual illusion, the ways in which our eyes can be tricked by photography. A camera is not an objective witness. It is a tool that interprets reality through lenses, settings, and angles. Consider the powerful effect of natural sunlight. The bright, direct light of a sunny day can dramatically accentuate colors, making them appear more vibrant and saturated than they were in person. It can also cause fabrics to appear lighter or even slightly sheer, an effect that is purely a trick of the light and not a reflection of the garment's actual properties. Then there is the power of the crop. A photograph is defined by its edges, and a tight, deliberate crop can conceal everything that provides context and reassurance. It can hide the presence of friends just outside the frame, the fact that the individual is on a closed, private set, or the elements that clearly demonstrate the outfit's safety, fit, and appropriateness for the setting. What appears to be a daring, isolated moment might, in a wider shot, be revealed as a perfectly ordinary scene surrounded by people and activity. Similarly, a fleeting posture, captured at the perfect millisecond, can create an impression that is braver or more dramatic than the continuous motion from which it was snatched. A person might be adjusting their strap, leaning down to pick up a towel, or laughing mid-conversation, and a still image can freeze that micro-expression or movement into something it was never intended to be. When you combine these visual manipulations with a few strategically strong words and a bold, provocative caption, it becomes remarkably easy to transmute a typical, cheerful day in warm light into something that is branded as shocking or revealing. This is the alchemy of modern media, and understanding it is our first line of defense. We must constantly remind ourselves that the frame we are being shown is not the entire picture, both literally and figuratively. It is a curated, edited, and often decontextualized fragment. More important than any single photograph, any one swimsuit, or any particular pose is the fundamental, non-negotiable fact that Milana is a real, multifaceted human being. She is not merely a character on a screen or a face in a magazine. She is a person with a real career built on talent and hard work, with genuine professional achievements that extend far beyond her physical appearance. She has a personal life with its own private joys and challenges, and she possesses real, legitimate boundaries that deserve to be respected. When we reduce a complex individual to a single image, we engage in a form of dehumanization. We strip away her agency, her intellect, her creativity, and her humanity, flattening her into a two-dimensional object for public consumption and debate. This is a profound injustice, and it's a practice we must actively work against by always choosing to see the person behind the pixels. This leads us to another critical layer of this discussion, the persistent and frustrating double standard that is so often applied. Consider the different reactions to similar images. A bold, revealing bikini photographed on a professional model in a high-fashion lookbook is frequently hailed as art. It is celebrated as an expression of aesthetic vision, of design, of creative freedom. The model is seen as a canvas, and the image is appreciated for its compositional and stylistic merits. Yet, when the same amount of skin is shown by a renowned actress or public figure in a casual, personal post, a glimpse into her unlife, the reaction can swiftly turn critical, with an accusation of it being too much or unprofessional. The same visual elements are interpreted through completely different lenses, and the judgment is often rooted not in the image itself, but in the identity of the person in it and the perceived context of its sharing. Of course, taste is and will always be entirely subjective. What one person finds beautiful, empowering, or stylish, another might find unappealing. This is a natural and healthy part of human diversity. There is absolutely nothing wrong with looking at a photograph and thinking that style is not for me. Personal preference is a valid and individual right. However, that personal aesthetic judgment should never ever morph into a justification for turning the individual in the photograph into a target for criticism, harassment, or moral condemnation. We can and should maintain our own personal rules and standards for ourselves and perhaps for our families, while simultaneously allowing other adults the freedom to follow their own. We can uphold our values without attempting to control the wardrobe choices of strangers. This is the balance that defines a mature and pluralistic society. Since we've touched upon the subject of style, let's take a moment to discuss it from a purely design-oriented perspective, divorcing it from any moral or judgmental overtones. Style is a language all its own, communicating through lines, shapes, colors, and textures. In photography, certain elements are chosen for their visual impact. Straight, clean lines can project a sense of power and confidence. Stable, well-defined straps on a garment suggest structure and intention. A snug cut that fits well at the waist and chest is often chosen for the comfort and relaxation it provides the wearer, ensuring that the clothing stays in place and allows for freedom of movement.